live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Anne Waodo.
Hello and welcome. Tonight, federal government engages Nupeng officials to prevent strike amid dispute with Dangote refinery management. Trade Union Congress issues federal government 14-day ultimatum to withdraw petroleum tax or face strike action. National Orientation Agency urges citizens' participation in combating insecurity. And French government falls as MPs vote out Prime Minister.
And on business, billionaire Femi Otedola's memoir makes publishing history, climbs to #1 on Amazon's bestseller list.
On sports news tonight, Nigeria and South Africa are set for a showdown in our 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier tomorrow in Bloemfontein.
And from the nation's capital, JAB uncovered over 4,000 cases of high-tech malpractices in 2025 examination.
The Minister of Labour and Employment, Mohammed Digiadi, alongside Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, are currently meeting with the national executives of the Nigeria Union of Petroleum and Natural Gas Workers, NUPENG, as well as officials of the Nigeria Labour Congress, the NLC, and the Trade Union Congress, the TUC, over the ongoing dispute between NUPENG and the Dangote Group regarding the unionization of its workers. Also in attendance is Ubogo Koha, the Executive Director in charge of Distribution Systems, Storage and Retailing Infrastructure at the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, along with representatives of the Dangote Group.
Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed.
Meanwhile, the Trade Union Congress of Nigeria, TUC, has rejected the federal government's proposed 5% tax on petroleum products, giving authorities 14 days to reserve that plan. The TUC described the proposal levy as reckless and an act of economic wickedness against already overburdened citizens. In a statement signed by its president and general secretary, the union highlighted the severe economic hardship facing workers and ordinary Nigerians, including the skyrocketing fuel prices and soaring food inflation. The statement further warns that introducing another levy on petroleum products would only worsen citizens' suffering, cripple businesses, and plunge millions of people into deeper poverty. We turn our attention to security matters now, where residents of Dara Jamal in Bama local government area of Borno State have been recounting their ordeal following the recent attack that claimed 63 lives in that community, expressing deep disappointment over the impact of military's conduct that allowed the assault to occur. Residents declared that they are now prepared to take their security into their own hands.
Dara Jamal, a border community 40 kilometers from Bama along Banki Road borders with Cameroon and the Sambisa Forest in Borno State. The community was destroyed at the peak of the Boko Haram insurgency, leading to the displacement of inhabitants to IDP camps in Bama, Maiduguri, and other parts of the state. About 6 weeks ago, the administration of Professor Babagana Zulum resettled 3,000 IDPs into a 500-housing estate after a decade of living in camps in Bama in the first phase of the resettlement of the border community. After visiting the community to commiserate with the bereaved and community members, Governor Babagana Zulum returns again to assess the situation. The governor goes round the estate, inspecting the level of damage to the resettled community. Narrating their experiences, residents decry the activities of the troops located at the base in Dar al Jamal.
It was after the prayer when we suddenly heard gunshots.
The military asked us to be in our houses and not step out. We obeyed them, but the moment we locked ourselves in our rooms, the military ran away from their duty post and fled. They left us to our fate. They came in very large numbers on motorcycles, vehicles. We suddenly heard, "Allahu Akbar," then gunshots everywhere. We locked ourselves in the room. They came and met us. They said, "These are old men. Let them be." They burnt our houses.
The entourage of the governor to the border community includes members of the National and State Assembly, State Executive Council members, Civilian Joint Task Force volunteers, and the Combined Task Force Security Team. They urge the federal government to emulate the state government in strengthening security in the area.
We share our deep, profound grief with this community. Our deepest sympathies and prayers are all with those who lost their loved ones. And most importantly, I urge this federal government, the security operatives, to beef up, for them to come with a more decisive action to protect these people.
The executive governor of Borno said, start training forest guards. Over 240 forest guards were being trained to protect these people.
In the interim, the state has engaged young people in the community to serve as forest guards, in addition to reviewing of operational engagements of repentant insurgents and the Civilian Joint Task Force volunteers who have been instrumental in the counter-insurgency operations in the state.
Meanwhile, Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured Nigerians of intensified military operations against terrorists nationwide, noting that the Bola Tinubu administration is making massive investments in military hardware. According to a statement from his spokesman, the Vice President gave the assurance in response to the recent attack in Bama local government area of Borno State, which he described as a profound loss to both the state and the nation. The Vice President extended his heartfelt condolences to the government and the people of Borno over that incident that claimed the lives of both civilians and military personnel. He further reaffirmed President Tinubu's directive to the armed forces to review security strategies, including the deployment of advanced military hardware and surveillance equipment, in order to decisively eliminate terrorist groups across Nigeria. The Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mr. Lanre Onilu, has called for greater citizens' participation in tackling the nation's security challenges. Speaking at the agency's monthly joint security press briefing in Abuja, Mr. Onilu highlighted key security achievements for August 2025. It disclosed that the Nigerian Army conducted 261 operations, while the police made 1,950 arrests.
This meeting is the second in the series of the monthly joint security briefing organized by the National Orientation Agency. The meeting is attended by heads of public relations from both military, paramilitary agencies and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control. First, the Director General of the National Orientation Agency, Mr. Lanre Onilu, reels out the successes for the month of August 2025.
Some of the actions taken include agencies responded with targeted patrols, in some cases dialogue. You should note that our security forces have ensured that non-kinetic approach take the lead.
The report shows that the Army executed 261 operations. Police made 1,950 arrests. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency seized 66,255 kilograms of narcotics, while the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission secured 588 convictions worth 22.6 billion naira. A further breakdown of the security coverage for the month under review shows that NAFDAC seized 17 containers of unsafe goods, while the Immigration Service strengthened border controls with 10,000 803 visas approved. Also, a total of 368 Nigerians and 105 foreigners were deported or repatriated.
The armed forces are prioritizing civilian protection and precision strikes guided by actionable intelligence in line with the directives of Mr. President.
Some representatives of military and paramilitary agencies speak on their areas of coverage for the month of August.
The game changer for us is the government investment in e-border solutions. And we are doing it currently. So if you come to our command and control at the service headquarters, you see live pictures of what happens at our border.
To achieve a better security infrastructure, Nigerians are encouraged to provide information that will curb insecurity. Sarah Chimugu, Channels Television News.
Let's head to the courts now, where Justice Emeka Nwite of the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the case involving the Osun State government, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, and two others to September the 22nd, 2025, to allow counsels in the matter exchange all court processes. At Monday's hearing, counsel to the plaintiff informed the court of a motion of discountenance filed against the Attorney General of the Federation. However, counsel to the AGF told the court that he had not been served with the motion. Similar positions were also taken by representatives of the CBN, the first defendant, and the Accountant General of the Federation, who was the second defendant, prompting that adjournment.
Of the Federal High Court Abuja is presiding over this case involving the Osun State government, the Central Bank of Nigeria, and the Attorney General of the Federation. It is a matter bordering on the disbursement of local government allocations to the state. The dispute stems from the legitimacy of the October 2022 local government elections in the state. At the mention of the matter on Monday, the plaintiff drew the attention of the court to a motion of discontinuance, which he says he had already filed against the Attorney General of the Federation. However, counsel to the Attorney General of the Federation says he has not been served. In a similar vein, counsel to the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation also drew the attention of the court to an avalanche of motions they have filed and served on the plaintiff, which they claim is yet to be responded to. Against this backdrop, Justice Emeka Nwite adjourned the matter to September 2022 to enable counsels in the matter exchange all the court processes. Outside the courtroom, efforts to interview the lead counsel to the Attorney General of the Federation proved abortive. However, the lead counsel to the Osun State government gave additional insights into the motion of discontinuance.
It's a case in which the Osun State government is challenging the right of the federal government to pay its money, the local government fund, to the people that have been sacked by the court order. It's just about, that's what the case is about. Remember that it's in court. We cannot speak so much about the case. We have filed a suit against him in the Supreme Court, against the third defendant in the Supreme Court. There is no need for him to be here. So we filed a suit for him in the Supreme Court. That's why.
There was this insinuation that said the plaintiff, that is you, trying to deliberately delay the process.
I believe your reporters were in court, and they heard the number of days that they've been served without reacting. They've been served for 111 days. So then if your reporters are in court, you can make inference which is delaying the case.
Counsels are hoping that the 2-week window of adjournment will be used judiciously to enable the court to give the matter the urgency it deserves.
In part two, after the break, JAMB uncovers over 4,000 cases of high-tech malpractice in the 2025 examination. Please join us again. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television, broadcasting from Lagos. A reminder of our main stories. Federal government engages Nupeng officials to prevent strike amid dispute with Dangote refinery management. Trade Union Congress issues federal government 14-day ultimatum to withdraw petroleum tax or face strike action. National Orientation Agency urges citizens' participation in combating insecurity. And French government falls on MP's vote to vote out Prime Minister. Ahead of the 2027 general elections, the lawmaker representing Ido-Ibarakwa East Federal Constituency in the House of Representatives, Aderemi Oseni, says that efforts are underway to mobilize grassroots support for President Bola Tinubu's re-election bid and secure victory for the All Progressives Congress, the APC, in Oyo State. Mr. Oseni made this known at the launch of the Ido Local Government Area Chapter of the Remi Oseni Committee of Friends in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. The lawmaker also used the occasion to unveil a series of empowerment schemes for members of his constituency.
The Remi Oseni Committee of Friends appears to be in full throttle, threatening grassroots support for President Bola Tinubu. It's the second major grassroots mobilization and empowerment program championed by ROCOF to bring the gains of good governance to the people of Ido, Ibarakwa Federal Constituency, and to garner greater support for President Tinubu ahead of 2027. This time is the official launch of the local government chapter of the Remi Oseni Committee of Friends by the federal lawmaker. The lawmaker, while expressing his commitment to meeting the needs of his constituents, also emphasized the importance of supporting President Bola Tinubu to secure a second-term bid and helping the APC regain power in Oyo State 2 years from now.
Under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, food security is being tackled through mechanized agriculture. It is important for you and I to know that we need to work in order to handle success. That is why I charge every RUCOP member to get to work now. House-to-house campaign, neighborhood advocacy, and bold conversation about President's achievements.
He noted that this goal will be pursued through the strength of his over 265,000 registered members across the state.
APC must take back Oyo State.
Oh yes!
This is our mission, and with unity, we shall achieve it.
Amen.
We must align with the federal government for greater progress. Our roads, our schools, our hospitals, our industries and farmers need federal support. And only alignment can guarantee this.
The lawmaker further announced a 50 million naira intervention package for traders in his constituency and a scholarship scheme for students who excelled in their SSCE examination results.
My undying love for our mothers, market women, and men, I am donating a sum of 50 million naira to empower women and traders in Ido Ibarakwa East for expanding businesses, for them to start new ones and to support their families.
Honorable Remi Oseni also urged party members and supporters across Oyo State to remain united and committed, stressing that grassroots mobilization will be key to ensuring victory for President Tinubu and the APC in the forthcoming polls across the country. Bukola Oriowo, Channels Television News.
The news at 10 continues now as we head over to our Abuja studios where Gloria Omezoke is standing by to bring us more. Hello, Gloria.
Thank you, Anne. Well, here in Abuja, we begin with the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAM Special Committee on Examination Infractions, which has submitted its report revealing how technology-driven malpractice is undermining Nigeria's admission process. Presenting the report in Abuja to the Registrar of the Board, Professor Ishaq Oluede, the committee chairman, Jake Ekpele, disclosed that investigations into the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculations Examination, UTME, uncovered 4,251 cases of finger blending and 190 instances of AI-assisted impersonation through image morphing.
This fraud is not the work of candidates alone. It is sustained by syndicates involving some CBT centers, schools, parents, tutorial operators, and even technical accomplices. Legal framework remains inadequate to tackle biometrics and digital fraud, and public confidence in the examination process is dangerously eroding. Worst of all, malpractice has become culturally normalized, seen by many as an acceptable shortcut to success. Our recommendation: to restore integrity to Nigeria admission system, we propose a multi-layered framework built on detection, deterrence, and prevention. Deploy AI-powered biometrics, anomaly detection, dual verification system, real-time monitoring, and a National Examination Security Operation Center.
To the health sector, the Association of Resident Doctors FCT chapter has begun a 7-day warning strike effective today, Monday, September 8. The strike was declared by the association's president, Dr. George Ebong, following an emergency general meeting held on Friday, September 5, 2025. Dr. Ebong explained that the decision was necessitated by what he described as a long-standing systemic failure in Abuja's health sector. Our correspondent, Victoria Longjohn, reports.
As early as 8 a.m. at the beginning of a new working week, resident doctors in the Federal Capital Territory commenced a 7-day warning strike. At the Asokoro District Hospital, the strike is received with mixed reactions from patients who had flocked in to seek medical care.
They didn't attend to me, and they are saying that they will go to this now. I said that they will go to a strike almost a week. And see now, the week now, how many lives they will lose.
They say everybody should go, that they're on strike. We don't know the reason, so we have to go to our houses until when the strike is cut off.
Channels Television also visited the Maitama District Hospital for 29th access. This warning strike is the third this year, following the one-week ultimatum issued by the association on August 31, 2025, to deliberate on persistent and unresolved issues. The doctors are demanding the immediate payment of salary arrears, the immediate recruitment of doctors, payment of the 2025 Medical Residency Training Fund, the immediate release of timelines for promotion exercises, conducive working conditions, payment of outstanding hazard allowances, amongst others. At this press conference, the president of the association, Dr. George Ebong, gives an insight on their demands.
We are getting demoralized now. We can't continue to work in this pattern. If we continue to work in this pattern, none of us is going to be alive anymore. So we have to do the needful. And the needful is what we're doing this morning for 7 days. Let me start by saying that for a long time, we haven't had employment in FCTA since 2011. Those that retired have not been replaced. Those that have left the country, the Japa syndrome, have not been replaced. Those that died have not been replaced. We keep doing, one doctor does the job of 5 to 6 doctors.
He also painted a grim picture of the poor working condition in the FCT hospitals, stating that the FCT minister has been duly notified of their plight.
We have met everyone that knows him, even within the same political landscape. We've spoken to them. We've told them to help us talk to the minister because we feel that the minister alone can solve our problems. And we want to try as much as possible that this is sorted out.
Now, Channels Television has made efforts to speak to the management of this hospital, but that has not been possible. However, the resident doctors say the strike will go on uninterrupted, and if after 7 days their demands are not met, they will embark on an indefinite strike. From Abuja, Victoria Longjon, Channels Television News.
Well, still ahead on the news at 10, Femi Otedola's memoir makes history. Hits #1 on Amazon bestseller list. That's in business news. Let's join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. We continue with the health sector, where the National Primary Health Care Development Agency has commenced nationwide distribution of maternal and neonatal health commodities to states across the Federation. Speaking at the flag-off ceremony in Abuja, the Executive Director of the agency, Dr. Muyi Aino, said the initiative represents a major step in the federal government's renewed commitment to safeguarding the lives of women and newborns. He stressed that President Bola Tinubu remains deeply committed to advancing maternal and child health with a clear directive to relevant authorities to strengthen healthcare delivery and ensure that no Nigerian woman dies from preventable pregnancy and childbirth complications.
This is the first phase of many such interventions that you will be witnessing, because the president is serious, and we are serious, and you, our partners, are serious. You know, we're right now in the phase of execution and doing everything we can to reach the front lines and touch the lives of Nigeria very quickly. There are 21 priority items that are important for care at the PHC level for mothers during pregnancy, during childbirth, and after childbirth, and for the babies as well. These 21 commodities will, like I said, 10 states across 4 zones. The Northwest zone gets about 60%. Again, we looked at the burden and gaps in service to prioritize for this first phase. So the Northwest state will get about 60%. There are 44 of the 80 targeted LGAs are there, and the quantum of commodities is based on our forecast of the women that we need to serve.
The nation's capital. It's even out to you, Anne, in Lagos.
Thank you, Gloria. Residents of Oworonshoki area of Lagos today staged a protest on the popular Third Mainland Bridge, protesting over allegations of demolition of houses by the state government. The action left commuters stranded with heavy gridlock spreading through different parts of Lagos. And responding to this incident, the Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Olorundare Jimoh, asked the protesters to conduct themselves peacefully and not allow their grievances take the toll on the public.
Oworonshoki, a suburb community, is pivotal to Lagos State as it connects the mainland and island areas via the popular Third Mainland Bridge. A demonstration emerged from this community shortly after men alleged to be acting on the authority of the Lagos State government started demolishing their houses without notice, leaving many families homeless. Youths from Oworonshoki came out in their numbers to block the section of the longest bridge in West Africa, carrying placards with various inscriptions as they demand answers to their questions. This action caused a major disruption to vehicular movement on the bridge and adjoining areas as commuters resorted to trekking along the 18.8-kilometer overpass. Officers of the Lagos State Police Command later moved in to contain the protesters, but with minimal force.
When I came, I spoke to them, I addressed them, and let them know the need not to be violent and the need not to be law-abiding and not to take law into their hand. But all my appeal to them fall on deaf ear, and we have to use minimum force to push them off the road so that members of the public can have access to the way. Your rights stop where you want to infringe on other people's rights. You don't do this if you have any reason whatsoever to complain about any action being taken by any government at whatsoever level. You have the laid down way to do so.
As normalcy returns to the area, affected residents wait for the state government to call them for a fresh meeting where unresolved issues can be settled amicably.
Well, it's good news for billionaire, businessman and philanthropist Femi Otedola, but let's join Will to bring us the details about that and other stories from the world of business.
Thank you, Anne. Now, in a remarkable publishing milestone, Nigerian billionaire and philanthropist Femi Otedola has soared to the #1 spot on Amazon's Starting a Business bestseller list with his memoir, Making It Big, Lessons from a Life in Business. Just weeks after his August 18th launch, the 286-page memoir has captured readers' attention with a perfect 5-star rating and a compelling narrative of great ambition and triumph, surpassing internationally acclaimed books like Stephen Bartlett's The Diary of a CEO, Simon Sinek's What's Your Dream, and Stephen Covey's The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Otedola's memoir is attracting praise from both African and global business leaders. Here are 2 quotes from the book. Start as early as you can, even if you're paid a pittance. And family always comes first. Cherish, pamper, love, and support your children and spouse. Endorsements have poured in from executive and policy makers, including WTO Director General Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, AFDB President, former AFDB President Akinwumi Adesina, and business titan Aliko Dangote, who have hailed the book as a valuable guide for aspiring entrepreneurs and a rare, authentic contribution to African business literature. Now, Nigerian travelers and online shoppers will no longer pay custom duties on goods worth $300 or less. And this comes as a new de minimis threshold policy comes into effect today, September the 8th, following its approval by the board of the Nigeria Customs Service, NCS. The spokesperson of the Customs, Abdullahi Mewada, who made this known, says the new policy means that small imports through express shipments or passenger baggage will be cleared immediately without custom charges, provided the items are not prohibited goods. According to the Customs, the policy applies up to 4 importations per person annually and covers e-commerce purchases, express deliveries, and items brought by passengers. The Customs adds that the new system promises instant clearance for qualifying goods without requiring additional paperwork after release. And from there, we head to the domestic equities markets, which opened the first trading day of the week in positive territory. Laddie Williams has the details.
Well, the new trading week kicks off with positive sentiment following from last Thursday's positive close. Could the Bulls be making a comeback? I guess time will tell this week. And we see making a run back to the 139,000 level. Let's see if 140 resistance will be broken. Let's look at the top gainers now. PZ Costs Nigeria, that's in personal and household products and services. That led the charge today with a big 10% uptick there. We see the company's audited financial statement shows a return to profitability, recording a profit after tax about 10.06 billion naira for the financial year ended 31st of May 2025, and that's compared to a loss of about 90.31 billion naira in the previous year. We'll see if investors continue to react to that. But today, the Bulls start the week
Thank you, Laddie. Let's hope the bull can keep up with the bear. And let's do the snapshot of closing numbers from other major equities around the world. That's business news, and it's back to you.
Thank you, Will. And still to come on the news at 10, French government falls as MPs vote out Prime Minister, and that's on the foreign scene. Please join us again. Welcome back. And outside our shores, opposition steps up pressure on French President Emmanuel Macron to appoint a new prime minister in a matter of days as MPs voted to oust incumbent Prime Minister Francois Bayrou. Here's Simon Pisa with more international news and around the world in 5 from our London studios.
Good evening and welcome to the Channel studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5.
6 people have been killed and 8 others wounded by Palestinian gunmen in one of the deadliest shooting attacks in Jerusalem in the past few years. Israeli police said 2 terrorists arrived in a vehicle and opened fire towards a bus stop on the city's northern outskirts. An off-duty soldier and a civilian returned fire, neutralizing the attackers. Israeli media identified the dead as 5 men, aged between 25 and 79, and a 60-year-old woman. Local hospitals said 2 of the wounded were in a serious condition. There was no immediate claim from any armed groups, although Hamas praised the attack.
The attempted murder of Ian Wilkinson, I sentence you to 25 years imprisonment.
An Australian woman has been jailed for life with no chance of release for at least 33 years for murdering 3 relatives and trying to kill another with a toxic mushroom meal. The jail term, one of the longest ever handed to a female offender in Australia, means Erin Patterson will be in her 80s before she can apply for parole. A Supreme Court judge said Patterson's crimes were the worst category for offending and involved an elaborate cover-up. Patterson killed her in-laws, Don and Gail Patterson, and Gail's sister Heather Wilkinson after serving them a toxic beef Wellington at her home in Victoria in 2023. A father who had been on the run with his 3 children in New Zealand's wilderness for nearly 4 years has been shot dead by police. Tom Phillips, who disappeared with his children in late 2021, had evaded capture despite a nationwide search and multiple sightings over the years. The case had gripped the country and remains one of New Zealand's most enduring mysteries. Phillips was killed in a shootout at around 2:30 a.m. on Monday, in which a police officer was seriously injured. Officers were responding to a reported robbery at a commercial property in a small town in northern New Zealand when Phillips and one of his children were spotted riding a quad bike.
Soon after 4:30 today, we've located Tom Phillips' remaining children. They've been found in a campsite not far from here, further up the Tianga Road, and they are with police officers now and being removed from that location.
At least 13 people have been killed and dozens injured in Nepal after demonstrations against a government social media ban led to clashes between protesters and security services. Thousands heeded a call by demonstrators, describing themselves as Generation Z, to gather near the Parliament building over the decision to ban platforms including Facebook, X and YouTube. The government has said social media platforms need to be regulated to tackle fake news, hate speech and online fraud. Donald Trump has threatened tougher sanctions against Russia after its heaviest aerial bombardment on Ukraine since the war began. Sunday's strikes killed 4 people, including a mother and her baby, and damaged Ukraine's main government building in Kyiv for the first time. The attack, which Ukraine said involved at least 810 drones and 13 missiles, has led to growing calls for stronger Western action against President Vladimir Putin. Kremlin's spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, said that no sanctions would ever be able to force Russia to change the consistent position that our president has repeatedly spoken about. Portuguese officials investigating last week's deadly funicular crash in Lisbon say a cable along the railway's route snapped, but the rest of the mechanism was functioning properly. The brakeman tried to apply emergency brakes but failed to prevent the derailment. Tributes to those killed and injured have been growing since the tragedy. 16 people died and 20 were injured when the upper carriage of the iconic yellow Gloria funicular railway crashed into a building.
Desidero ardentemente che altri potessero condividere il suo stesso et carum acus.
And a London-born boy has become the first millennial saint in a ceremony steeped in ancient ritual, presided over by Pope Leo in St. Peter's Square. In his short life, where he died just aged 15, Carlo Acutis created websites documenting miracles as a means of spreading Catholic teaching, leading some to nickname him God's influencer. His canonization had been due in late April, but was postponed following the death of Pope Francis. More than 1 million people are estimated to have made a pilgrimage to the Italian hilltop town of Assisi, where Carlo's body lies, preserved in wax.
And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. Tunisia have become Africa's second team to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup after a late 1-0 victory away to Equatorial Guinea. Mohamed Ali Ben Rodnan struck in the 94th minute in Malabo to settle a tense contest. The result moves Tunisia to 22 points from 8 games, and with 2 matches left, they cannot be caught by second-place Namibia, who are on 12 points. The Carthage Eagle will be competing in the World Cup for a 7th time in their history and a 3rd in succession. And Super Eagles boss Eric Schell has expressed optimism ahead of the team's crucial 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against the Bafana Bafana of South Africa at the Toyota Stadium, Bloemfontein, on Tuesday. South Africa top Group D standings with 16 points and are expected to be a tough nut to crack for the Super Eagles, who are 3rd on 10 points. Shell is however upbeat on the Super Eagles' chances heading into the contest.
We don't think about, we played 2 days ago. We are focused on our game. We are focused on our game plan. My players are so motivated about this game, and just only focus and happy to play a game like that. This is the big game, and we know that. So only focus on tomorrow and not what happened yesterday or before yesterday. Just try to go forward.
And South Africa head coach Hugo Broos believes Bafana Bafana can confirm their qualification for the 2026 FIFA World Cup with victory over Nigeria in Tuesday's Group C clash. Broos' confidence stems from his team's commanding position in the group and their impressive recent form. However, the 73-year-old Belgian said he is aware that Nigeria remain dangerous opponent despite their struggles in the qualifiers.
It should be a miracle if we shouldn't qualify, so we all know that. And it's a big opportunity to win the game tomorrow. But again, we are playing against a very good opponent also. And it's not because they are 6 points behind us that we have to think that Nigeria is not a good team anymore. When you see the players there, they all play abroad in big teams in Europe. So that means there is quality. But we don't have fear.
Iceland head coach Arnar Gunnlaugsson has promised the side will show a big personality and a big heart in their World Cup qualifying match against France. Iceland visit Parc des Princes on Tuesday to face the 2018 World Champions in a Group D encounter. Speaking at a pre-match press conference in Paris, Gunnlaugsson believes France are one of the top 3 teams in the world. Iceland head to French soil on the back of 2 victories from 3, a period in which they netted 8 goals and lost 1. And UEFA Europa League champions Tottenham Hotspur have unequivocally rejected 2 expressions of interest in the Premier League side, and that it is not for sale. The announcement comes after the sudden departure of Executive Chairman Daniel Levy last week, which triggers speculation that a takeover bid could be imminent. Club's Chief Executive Officer Vinay said one approach was from PCP International Finance Limited and the other from a consortium led by Firehawk Holdings Limited. He added that Levy's exit was part of the Tottenham Hotspur's ambition to ensure it is set up to deliver long-term sporting successes. But sport is back to you, Anne.
Thank you, Chris. And the main news again. The federal government has met with Nupeng officials in order to prevent a strike amid dispute with Dangote refinery management. The Trade Union Congress has issued the federal government 14-day ultimatum to withdraw petroleum tax or face strike action. And that's the news at 10 tonight. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Anne Nwawadu. Good evening and good night.